For the longest time, the whole conversation around AI has been about one thing: performance. How smart can we get it? How fast can it go? But I think we're finally starting to ask a much more important question: what is all this intelligence actually for? We're shifting from just building powerful tools to figuring out their ultimate purpose. And that entire shift starts with accepting one, frankly, radical new reality.
So first things first, we've got to wrap our heads around this one. Kind of wild idea. As of right now, intelligence itself, well, it's not a scarce resource anymore. Think about it. For all of human history, the hard part, the real bottleneck, was cognitive output, the ability to think, to create, to solve problems. But now with AI, that's becoming abundant. It's becoming cheap.
And that immediately begs the question, maybe the most important question of our era. If pure intelligence is cheap and everywhere, what isn't? What's the new, rare commodity that's going to define our economy, our society, everything?
And this brings us to a concept called the intelligence inversion. It's this idea that the entire value equation of our world is literally flipping upside down. The stuff we used to value most is becoming a commodity, and the things we kind of took for granted, well, they're suddenly becoming priceless. I mean, look at it this way. In the past, the big challenge for pretty much any organization was just producing enough brain power, enough cognitive work. But in the future that we're already stepping into, the real limit, the new bottleneck, is all about resources that are uniquely and irreplaceably human.
Okay, so let's get specific. If cognitive work is abundant, what are these new human-centric scarcities? What are the real resources we should be obsessing over and protecting in this new world?
Turns out, the new valuables are things AI just can't manufacture on demand. We're talking about your free time, your ability to actually trust the systems you use every day, your attention in a world that's trying to hijack it 24/7, and that deep, fundamental human need for purpose and community. You can't just spin up a server for more of that.
So here's the real danger. If we keep using AI with our old playbook, just trying to complete tasks faster and cheaper, we are setting ourselves up for a massive failure. We're going to end up creating a world that, sure, looks super efficient on a spreadsheet, but is actually fragile, untrustworthy, and just deeply unfulfilling for the people who have to live in it.
And this is exactly why we need a new goal, a new North Star for all this incredible technology. Instead of just optimizing for raw productivity, we need to start optimizing for something that actually matters: human flourishing.
Now, human flourishing can sound a bit fuzzy, I get it, but this isn't just some vague, feel-good buzzword. It's a real, measurable goal with a few key parts. The whole idea is to design our AI systems with the explicit goal of making people more capable, giving them more control over their own lives, and making our communities stronger.
There's actually a pretty neat framework for this called MIND. It breaks down flourishing into 4 pieces that have to work together. You've got M for material security, the basics; I for the intelligence and skills that empower us; N for our social networks and relationships; and D for the diversity of ideas and cultures we get to experience. And the key thing here is you can't trade these off against each other. You can't sacrifice community for security. You have to lift all of them up at the same time.
Okay, so having a big goal like flourishing is awesome. But how do you actually measure it, right? To make this a real target and not just a nice idea, we absolutely have to be able to track our progress. We've got to make it concrete.
Well, the key to measuring it actually brings us right back to where we started. Once thinking is cheap, what's our most valuable, universal, and totally non-renewable resource? It's our time. How we spend our time is the ultimate signal of our well-being and our progress. It's the one thing we can't make more of.
And this leads to this really powerful new metric, the time dividend. Imagine if we measured the success of a new AI tool, not by how many clicks it gets, but by the net number of hours it gives back to people. Hours that were once spent on bureaucratic nonsense, that work about work, that are now free to be spent on things that actually matter. Things like creativity, learning, family, community.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. The source material for this actually proposes a concrete public target. What if the goal for our national AI strategy was to return 5 or more hours per week to the average household? I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. What would you do with 5 extra hours every single week? That's the real tangible promise of this technology.
So really, when you boil it all down, we're at a crossroads. We are standing at a fork in the road, and the goal we choose to aim for right now is going to determine which one of 2 very, very different futures we end up building.
On one path, we get what's called a thin equilibrium.
This is the world we get if we only optimize for clicks, for short-term efficiency. It's a future that ends up being fragile and low trust. But on the other path, there's a thick settlement, a future where we deliberately use technology to expand what we're capable of, to give us back our time, and to build strong, resilient communities where people actually trust each other.
So I'm going to leave you with this one last thought. What if we started demanding more from our technology? What if, right next to the financial reports, every new major AI system also had to publish its Flourishing Balance Sheet, a report that shows its real impact on our time, our trust, our well-being? Now that's a future worth building.